Hi everyone out there, it's Allyssa from the Township of Washington Library, and it is Wizard Week. We are celebrating a particular boy wizard's birthday this week, and so we have some fun things planned. Many of you know I have been rereading all of the Harry Potter books this summer. I am currently just about done with book 7. It's been a very, very exciting journey, and so I'm pretty excited to share Wizard Week with you all this week. We have 2 crafts today. I'm going to show you how to make your very own personalized wand. And I'm also going to show you how to make some custom coasters, which you can use for this theme or any theme at all. But I made a fun Deathly Hallows tile coaster. So I think that's it. I think we're ready to get into it. What you need for these crafts is you need a plain white tile. This is glazed, and I think it needs to be glazed for this effect to work. This costs only a couple of cents at any home store. And you need some Sharpie markers or alcohol inks. And for the wand, you need a wooden dowel, a stick from outside, chopsticks from all of the takeout that you are probably ordering like I am. You need some paint. I have some beads and hot glue. And that's really it. These are super easy to get a hold of, all of the supplies. They're low cost, they're totally creative and totally custom, and I'm going to show you how to do everything right now. Alright, so we're going to start making our wand over here by the outlet with the glue gun. So, as always, if you're not comfortable with the glue gun, you can have somebody help you with it, or have a grown-up help you with it. Just be careful. I know that I'm using a high temp glue gun. There are low temp ones. There are ones where you can change the settings. So just be careful. Don't burn your fingers. Don't touch the glue. So to make your wand, you can get a chopstick or a wooden dowel like this one, which I got from the craft store, a whole big pack for super cheap. Or you can go out and you can find a stick. I thought this stick looked very cool, kind of looked like a dark wizard's wand. I'm gonna go with this one. And so I've heated up my hot glue gun. A couple of other things that I have, I like to add some texture to it. I like to start with a base of glue, and then you can use, if you, like us, you have a lot of supplies or doodads around the house, I have this bag of beads of all different sizes, and it doesn't matter what color it is because we're gonna paint our wand when we're done. But, you know, you can use the little beads to add some texture. And then I have a big bead that I'm going to use at the end. There it is, a big bead that I'm going to use at the end of my wand. So you can really play with textures and everything. And this one I'm not going to paint. I'm going to leave this out so you can see this really nice kind of crystal effect on the end of my wand. So to start, I'm going to try to build up a foundation at the end of my wand where I'm going to be holding. If you want, you can kind of make a little mark on your wand. Okay, so here's my wand holding stance, so I know I kind of need to go up to this point. Do I have a pencil right here? I have a box. So I want my glue to kind of go up to at least this point here. And so you just kind of start building a foundation for your handle. Your hot glue, if it's really hot, will want to drip. So you're going to want to just kind of keep spinning also. It's a little bit of a game. You don't want to drip, like I have some drips. So I'm just going to keep moving it around because that glue is just going to keep flowing. Kind of smooth some of these lumps out. So I'm going to try my popsicle stick, my little craft stick, and see if I can smooth it out a little bit without touching the hot glue. If you're using a low temperature gun, your glue may dry very quickly. If you're in the air conditioning or the stream of a fan like I am, it may dry very quickly. So see, I was able to smooth it out a little bit. It's not perfect, but I'm gonna go back in with another layer of hot glue. And you can also use, the tip of this is also very hot, so watch. But you can use that to your advantage to, once the glue is dry, see I've got this little glue spot at the end, this little peak I'm not happy with. I can use this hot spot here to smooth it out. Alright, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna try to do another layer to bulk up my handle and see what happens. Okay, so I want the base of my handle to be the bulkiest. So it's nice and thin up here, and again, I have some lumpy lumps, and as they're drying, or once they're dry, again, I'm going to use the tip of this to smooth it out and taper the transition from thick to thin on my wand a little bit. And this takes some patience, but it does heat the glue up pretty nicely. So again, just be careful with touching your glue gun. And every now and then you're going to need to stop because your glue won't flow so nicely, because the back of the glue stick over here is cool and everything that's been in here is really warm. So, this also makes a very good pointer. So, you can kind of do these shaping things while you're waiting for the glue to heat up a little bit in the chamber. Alright, I'm going to keep bulking it up. So I like the way this looks so far. It's nice and big on the bottom and it tapers up. I'm gonna just try to keep smoothing this out so it's more even while the end dries, and then I'm gonna even out the end and add in my first bead. There it is. I gotta keep twisting because you can see the dollop of glue that I just added on the end keeps wanting to drip and fall. But I'm going to go ahead and add my crystal to the bottom. Ooh. Alright, now I'm going to gently support this because it's very heavy, full of glue. I like that, but my shape got kind of messed up. So the glue is still very liquid on the inside. You can see it's cloudy on the outside, which means it's starting to dry, but it's still very mushy and liquid, so I can keep shaping it and working with it as much as possible. I think I'm pretty happy with the shape of this, but remember it's still pretty much of an amorphous blob, so I'm just gonna keep twisting it and letting it dry, and once it's dry, I will again be able to go through with my hot glue gun and smooth out some of the lumps and bumps. I'm really happy with the shape of this now. So another thing that I really like to do is to add a little swirl. So I'm going to attempt to add a little swirl with my glue gun for some texture. Here we go. So you just start and you twist, twist, twist. Again, we're gonna let this dry. For my coaster, I have just started by sketching out whatever it is that I want what design I want on my coaster. So I did my Deathly Hallows symbol. It's rustic, it's imperfect, I'm fine with it. And what I'm gonna do, it doesn't matter how sketchy your lines are because we're gonna erase it at the end anyway, so it's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put hot glue on the lines, and that's gonna create a barrier. And then we wait for it to dry before we move back to the craft table. My wand is dry, it's cool to the touch, and I can handle it now. So what we get to do now is we get to paint it. So I just have some variety of browns, tans, white, and we're gonna go there. So I'm gonna give it a base coat of the dark brown. Let this dry now before I add some more details. So I went and made it nice and dark. I added a little bit of a light highlight on the top. And once all of this, in between all these nooks and crannies dries, I'm gonna add a nice low light with some black paint. But for now, this has got to dry a little bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna start using my Sharpie markers to start coloring in my tile. My spray bottle filled with rubbing alcohol, and I have a dropper that I can experiment with. So this is just a little bit of trial and error. You don't want to put too much water on it first, but you don't want to put too little. The alcohol does dissipate, so it does dry. So sometimes you want to see what happens when it dries before you decide to add more or less alcohol to disperse. So let's see what happens. This is a little bit of an experiment every time. There it goes. See, it immediately starts to break it up. Everything's blending, it's becoming more fluid. Your colors are breaking down, so they're changing a little. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry now. See what happens when it dries. Okay, that's it. Everything is finally dry. Just a word that in our typical New Jersey summer humidity, things may take a while to dry. So normally the alcohol evaporates super quickly and your tile will dry. It took a really long time for mine to dry just because it's so humid. And it took a while for my paint to dry, but so my wand is ready. I love my little crystal at the bottom. The very last thing that I did that I forgot to film was, I don't know if you can see, there's a really nice little pearlescent sheen on here. I got from all the times that I've been doing soap making, bath and body products, these powdered micas. Some of you slime enthusiasts may also have some mica lying around. So what I did with the mica is I actually mixed it with a little bit of the rubbing alcohol from the tile craft. This works really well because it means that everything dries. So I did a little bit of this and just a drop or two of the rubbing alcohol, and I used a dry brush and I rubbed the mica paste on there, and it gave it a really nice magical sheen, and it happens to match my little crystal that I put at the bottom. And so that's a really easy way to work with these micas to create this beautiful sheen of a wash. I just used like a big fluffy dry brush like this. You can see a little bit of the mica on the bottom. And like I said, I just mix that with some rubbing alcohol. It dries really quickly and it helps it stay put rather than just brushing it on dry. It won't work so well. So that was my little trick for my wand. And my tile is done. There it is. You can see my Deathly Hallows. So this pattern's pretty cool. It's like very tie-dye, very acid wash. What I would suggest is I started with a lot of alcohol. I just kind of sprayed it all on. What I would suggest is starting with less than I did. Do a couple of drops with the dropper and see how it dries. Times when I've done this before, where I've done just like tie-dye tiles without the pattern, I just do step by step. I do a couple of drops, I let it dry for a few minutes and see what happens. I do a couple of more, I let it dry. Maybe I go back in and add some more Sharpie. The last thing that you want to do is you want to get a clear protective spray. You find this in the spray paint aisles. It's just a clear coat. You can do matte or glossy, whichever you like. You want to make sure you spray it from a distance. If you get too close, I don't know if it would, depending on the brand that you buy and what's in it, the solvents, if it would mess up your alcohol ink. So make sure you're spraying it at a distance, make sure you're spraying it outside, and that way it will protect your coaster so that it will last for a long time, your design. As a coaster, you're trying to protect your surfaces, so the last thing you want to do is you want to get some, I have not done this yet, but is you want to get some felt, any color, black, whatever, get some felt and glue it onto the back. This way the back of the tile won't scratch any of your surfaces where you're trying to protect, which is why we're using a coaster. So just back these with a little bit of felt and you have your own perfect homemade custom tile coaster. All right, that's it. Those are our 2 Wizard Week crafts. I'm super excited about them. This is probably the 3rd wand that I've made and it never gets old. I love doing this. If you make any of these crafts or if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below in our video and we will get back to you, but I would love to see any pictures if you make any of your own wands or custom tiles. All right, everyone, that is it for me this afternoon. I will see you all soon. I will see you for our next craft, and until then, happy reading and have fun.